Okay, guys, here's your assignment. I've gone ahead and started doing this and did some of this already for you, for my schedule. So I did my Monday schedule on April 20th, and what I did is I've broken the day up into half an hour chunks, and I've kind of estimated what I did. Sometimes I did like a 15-minute thing, so I either rounded it up or kept it the same. So as you could see, I sleep until 6:30, wake up at 7, have breakfast, bike to work, hygiene. So that's like showering, brushing my teeth, things like that, and work. And then I go through my schedule here, and we could see different things I do, and I've changed it up. You could be as specific as you'd like for this. I just try to have more than 2 events. Hopefully you do more than 2 things in a day. Hopefully more than just sleep and eat. But here, and then underneath this next page, I wrote each of my activities. So I sleep, I do meals, I hygiene, I work, I play games, I watch TV, and maybe you do more than this in a day. That's fine. You could just add more. You could add more schedule, more things underneath this in this chart, but this is just happens to be what I did. Then it says time spent in minutes. Now, if you watched my last video, I say minutes just because you have to be careful between hours and minutes. But I'll allow you if you want minutes or hours, right? Because I have both here, 9 hours or 540 minutes. 2.5 hours or 150 minutes. So you could have either or, do it in minutes or hours, just be consistent. Don't do minutes and hours. Don't say 1 hour and 15 minutes. You'd have to say 1.25 hours, right? In that sense. So that's what here, and I've calculated all that by looking at this and said 9 hours. And all this should add up to 24 hours, right? We go 9, 10, 11, 12, 22, 23, plus the half an hours are 24 hours. So it does add up to 24 hours. And then it says decimal of total day. So we want to see essentially what percent of the day do we spend doing each of these things. And you take the time divided by 24 hours. So, or divided, I'll do hours here. So we got 9 divided by 24 is going to give us our answer here, which is 0.375. And you could do this for the rest of them, right? 2.5 divided by 24. And if you're doing it all in minutes, you're going to divide it by 1,440 minutes. As you see a star here, there are 24 hours a day, which equals 1,440 minutes. So I did that for you already, but I'll just fill the rest of these in. So this is 0.10. This is 0.042. This is exactly 25. 188. I'm just going to 3 decimal places on most of these, and this is 0.042. Now, when you add all these up, you should get one whole. You may be a little off here or there, but because of using decimals and different things like that. But overall, that's what we're looking at or doing. So percent of total day, well, of course, if we find percent, we just times the previous column by 100, so it's 37.5%, 10%, 4.2%, 25%, 18.8%, and 4.2%. Now I'm going to add these up to see if I get 100%. And I'm going to be close. I don't think we'll see. So I do get 99.7%, which is really close to 100. The reason I don't get exactly 100 is because I've rounded some of these numbers. This number was 1875, or this was 0.041666, and so on. So then it's about 100%. Of course, it's going to be a little off here and there, but that's good. This last column is kind of a column extension area of something you might want to know moving forward, but I'm just going to talk about it real quick. You could jump to page 293 of your textbook, and it explains how to do this here. This is just talking about what angle of the graph, if you were to draw out this circle graph, what angle would you have to draw? For example, we all know that if I had 25%, right? So if I did work here, I could split it into 25% and write work in there. And you might say, well, how come you did that 25%? Well, we know that 25% has an angle of 90 degrees. And you might say, Mr. Stace, how do we know that? And the reason we know that is because there are 360 degrees in a circle, right? So if there are 360 degrees in the circle and we want 20, I'm just doing this column right here right now, and we want 25% of that to be work, how would you do that? Well, you would just go 0.25 times 360. Let's erase this because I'm going to run out of room, which is equal to 90 degrees, right? And we could do this. We're doing 360 because that is the amount of degrees in a full circle. So I'm going to do it 37.5, so 0.375 times 360 is going to equal 135 degrees. So if I wanted to make a section in this graph, let's draw this a little nicer. If I wanted to make a circle, let's try to make it. And what I would do is I would draw a section that is 135 degrees, right? And that's going to represent 37%, right? This is going to represent 37.5% inside of that circle, right? Because 135 degrees of the 360 is equal to 37.5%. So here we have 0.1. Let's just finish this off. 60, which equals 36 degrees. And I'll just fill in the degrees for the rest. So this should be 15 degrees, because those are the same. And then, 0.188 times 360 should equal 60. I'm just going to round that to 68 degrees. And you should add this up and it should equal 360 degrees there. So that's if you want to draw it out. You'll take your protractor and then actually measure each section out, and then that will be a perfect amount. The other way we could do this is by making a computer generation. So I'll just do that on Excel. So here I have everything marked up here. To make a let's just highlight that. To make a chart, what we could do is just add chart, right? I'm just on Excel, and we could make, well, we don't want a column chart, we want a circle chart. So I'm going to choose circle, and I'll go back, and then there's some things, legend, right? I might want to have a legend labeled. So that means it's going to label each section. I'll have a legend at the bottom, top left, right. You could choose different things. I'm going to choose labeled right now. Let's go back. Title. So we need to make sure our graph has a title. I'm going to title this Mr. Stace's day. And in brackets, I'm going to tell you how many hours are in that day, right? Because you might have done it for half a day or a week, something. So it's important that you show the amount of hours in the day, right? If you surveyed 20 people and decided to do this as a survey graph, you would have to tell me how many people there. So I'm just going to say update title. I think that's all good. And there we go. If we look at this guy here, we got everything here. We got everything labeled. Games is 19.6%, TV, meals, work, and sleep. So these are a little different from what I got because, again, of rounding, but that's totally okay there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this. So let's just take a screenshot real quick and crop this in. Save to my photos. And let's go back to our other area. So then down here in this area right here, I want you to upload your photo. So I'm going to add if you do it on the computer, something like that, I'm going to just put this nicely in here. You could draw it or and then take a photo of it and paste it in. And then that's your activity that you need to submit going forward. So whether you do it on computer or draw it, I still require you to do this section. Okay, that's just I still require you to do this part here, just so that you get some practice of percents. That's a really good practice. But other than that, this is your project. Hopefully this video has helped you moving forward.